Commander is a social format, and having good etiquette is important. So let's look at some of the most annoying things you could do to ruin the vibes at the table. Number 5. Intentionally pub stomping. For many Commander players, having a good balanced game is important to them, so intentionally misleading people into thinking your deck is maybe weaker than it is in order to score free wins is honestly just pathetic. Now the key word is intentionally. I do understand that there are going to be times where a deck just pops off and it really is that moment where like, oh, I've never seen my deck do this before. One example of something that happened in our play group was someone has a Lazav Dimir Mastermind mill deck, and the idea is that Lazav will be able to copy any creature that's sent to the graveyard while retaining its own abilities, including its hexproof. So first in turn order, turn 2 Dimir Signet, turn 3 Lazav, turn 4 Mill, hits the Eldrazi players that betrays. So before turn 4 for the other 3 players at the table, the Lazav player already has people sacrificing lands. We basically just all agreed that, hey, it's game over, you win, nice one, blame the Eldrazi player. You're most likely to encounter this type of behavior while playing with random people, and if you do, the best advice I can give you is to just avoid them in the future. Number 4, complaining about being attacked or targeted. Combat and removal are part of the game, so if you're going to get salty and create this weird tension within the game, then maybe this isn't the game for you. And I know someone's going to be like, but what about their threat assessment? It doesn't matter if they decide to remove something that you wouldn't have removed. They have information that you don't have about the cards they have in their hand or what they're planning. Let them play their cards and do what they want to do. And if you don't like being attacked, some advice would be maybe play some creatures. If you're going to spend all those turns ramping and not putting anything to defend yourself, that's on you. Expect to be attacked. It's part of the game. Number 3. Going back on deals. A common deal you might see is like, hey, don't attack me on your turn and I won't attack you on my turn. And then all of a sudden my turn comes around and I decide, you know what? I'm going to attack you anyways. I don't care what deal we made. Regardless of whether you enjoy the political aspects of EDH and deal making, some people don't like making deals, that's fine. But if you do make a deal, you should stick to your word and not break that deal. Because as soon as you do, you lose all trustworthiness and everyone's going to sit there and be like, okay, well, we can't make deals with this person because they're going to backstab me the first chance they get. So you lose all credibility for the rest of that game, or if you play with those people in the future, they know that you're someone they can't be trusted, and that's just not a great reputation to have. I've watched people throw away their victory right on the board just because they're honoring a deal from the previous turn. Make sure you're very specific on what the deal is to avoid any loopholes. In our playgroup, we always uphold our deals, but there was this one time where I was playing my Voltron commander and it was down to 3 players. And the person in front of me was able to remove my Voltron commander with a board wipe on their turn. However, I was like, hey, let's make a deal. I'll attack them first. So they took the deal because obviously I'm going to attack the other person, and then on their turn, they're just going to remove my commander like they were going to do the turn before, except I attacked the person, knocked them out of the game, and then cast Relentless Assault in my second main phase, giving me an extra combat, and then attacked and finished them off and won the game. Now, this isn't like some kind of brag, and I'm not saying you should loophole things, but this was a situation where I didn't have an out and I made a deal and I upheld my end of the bargain, right? I said, hey, I'll attack them first, and they took that as, well, I'll get another turn. It just happens that they didn't. Number 2, I could have won if. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've all had those games where everything's lined up perfectly. You're like, I'm going to win on my turn. And then suddenly somebody pulls off the most amazing win. And you're just like, oh, wow, okay, I was going to win on my turn. And then you proceed to show everyone your hand and the cards you would have drawn and basically how you were going to win the game on your turn. Even though you don't know what the other players at the table had in their hands or how they would have responded to your attempt at winning. This brings us to number 1. Intentional kingmaking. I like to look at kingmaking in 2 different ways, unintentional and intentional kingmaking. There will be times where you're unable to win the game, but the choices you make will decide the outcome of the game. This is why I call it unintentional, because you didn't put yourself in a king-making situation. You're not purposefully trying to decide the winner, but now you're in a situation where no matter what you do, even if that choice is to concede, you're determining who's going to win the game. Intentional king-making is more of when you're not trying to win the game and you just want to do everything in your power to have a specific person win the game, whether that's using removal on the other opponents or it's funneling resources into that person. You are just trying to make sure that they win the game. At my LGS for Commander Night, they take all the people and they randomize them into pods after each game. And I had 2 people put in the pod with me. They were friends, and one of them played a group hug deck. so that they could funnel resources into their friend. At one point they cast a removal spell, and they even said I should remove your commander to their friend, and instead removed a random creature on my board. And honestly, that was probably one of the worst experiences I've had playing Commander. It was just honestly bad vibes. Normally my LGS is super chill. I've never had a game of Commander where I was like, ugh, like I dislike that. But that was definitely one of them. Not because the guy won, obviously I don't care about that. It was just the way they were playing and talking. It just didn't feel right. There are many different ways to kingmake in Commander, but I want to make one thing clear. If someone is knocking you out of the game and you decide to fire off your removal spells and block in a way that damages them the most, even though you're going to lose no matter what, that is perfectly fair, and that is a consequence of them attacking you. This is something that they should have thought about before they attacked you, and it does not make you a kingmaker. Let me know in the comments down below what bad etiquette things players do that ruin your vibes the most when you're playing a game of Commander. Until next time, thanks for watching.